I have some stories that were very good in our training area. And when I started out in primary, where I never had flown before, but I learned to fly a PT-17 and was later promoted to a PT-19. And then I went to basic, Augusta, Georgia. And there, each instructor, the civilian instructors, was flying a BT-13, and I got a civilian instructor that cussed you, called you a son of a bitch and all that, dumb bastard and all that. And he had 5 students, and the other 4 students went to headquarters and asked to give somebody that was speak decently, and they was given the right to change instructors. And I figured that I was so new into flying, I needed somebody to be tough with me. So even though I didn't like him, I didn't like the names he called me, but I did stay with him because I figured I needed somebody really tough to make me do what he wanted me to do. So I didn't like him, but I felt I needed somebody tough to make me do what he said. And so I was left with him, and the others went someplace else. And I went through the training with him, and it come to night flying. And I don't know how it is, but I was the oldest student he had, and I didn't want to fly with him no more than I had to. So I was scheduled to fly at night for the first time. I had never flown anything at night. I hadn't flown many things at all, but I was out running up my BT-13 and getting ready to taxi out and fly, and I heard them. Some student was killed during the day, and they decided not to let the students fly without an instructor. So I heard them going down the line, and it was night, and I heard them come down the line, tell them to hold it. Your instructor will be out there to fly with you. And so I knew this horrible guy that was going to be with me flying at night for the first time. So I didn't want to fly with him, and I taxied out to the takeoff position. Then they got around to me. They said, whatever my number was, like BT-13 or 15 or something, "Where is your location?" I said, "I'm out the end of the runway ready for takeoff." And that meant I'd have to taxi all the way back in. And so they asked the instructor, said, "Oh, let him go." So I took off without him. But when I hit the throttle to take off, I got the surprise of my life. The exhaust come out of that powerful engine as big around as about 12 inches fire exhaust at night, all the way back even with my elbow, which the canopy was open. And I thought that my engine was on fire, but I was taking off. I couldn't stop to do anything about it. So I stayed with flying it, even though I had fire shooting out of the engine. And of course the engine kept running, and I taxied up, flew up, took off, and climbed up into the position that was assigned to me. Then I started trying to put the fire out. And I tried to call and tell them that my fire engine was on fire, and I didn't know what to do about it. Well, it so happened my transmitter worked, but my receiver did not. So they couldn't tell me not to worry about it. It was exhaust. So I didn't get no help calling, but I still flew in my position. And I have to tell you, I thought I was flying an airplane. It was on fire. And they shot a red light at me to tell me it was what was agreed to. The red light's been my turn to shoot a landing. Now they were listening on the radio there, that me pleading with them to tell me what to do about the plane on fire. So and the instructor, they had him come up there and listen to it too. And this guy that cussed you out and everything, he said, that kid is scared to death, but yet he's flying that airplane. And I went in and shot my landing and went back up. And when I got back up there, I was still trying to put the fire out. It was big flame. I'd never seen anything like that because of night. It was very apparent. So I cut the throttle back, and the flame went back in the engine. So I thought I'd put it out. And I shoved the throttle back, and here it come back. And I finally decided it must be normal, because it went back in the engine went out, and when I shoved the throttle back, it came back. And that was undoubtedly exhaust. And so I shot 13 landings. They shot the red light at me, and at night, first time I ever flew at night. And I went in and landed, shot a landing, and then I took off. Then they started figuring out how they're going to get me to stay down. And because the rest of them, they could tell them on the radio to hold it down there. So this last time I come in to shoot a landing, and they had about 8 different vehicles out there with the red lights all on. Now I could have took that, don't land, but I didn't. I landed, and that was the red lights they used to get me to hold it on the ground, not take off. But it was my first time to fly at night, and I have flown many, many, many times since then. And the exhaust is even greater than that on some of them. But that's the first time I ever seen the exhaust of an airplane at night, and it is shocking.